Hey everybody, welcome back to the SuperBake podcast. I'm your host, Baker. Let's talk about stuff. So earlier today, I got a double cheeseburger and some fries from Freddy's Steak Burgers. I never had that place before, but one of my friends kept telling me about it. It was freaking delicious. But it's funny, that was earlier today during lunch, and I've been feeling so lethargic ever since. I don't eat that kind of food very often, so it's like my body doesn't know what to do with it. It's just like I can't do anything with this. I can't convert this into energy, so I guess just go take a nap, dude. But that place is good, though. Seriously, if you've never had Freddy's Steak Burgers, they're amazing. All right, so today I wanted to talk about a couple of things. I saw the trailers for two movies, Prey, the new Predator film, as well as the trailer for the new Halloween movie called Halloween Ends. So wanted to kind of discuss those a little bit today, give my thoughts on them, kind of what I thought, as well as, how excited I am to see those movies. So first I'll start with the movie Prey. So I had heard about this movie. I didn't know a whole lot about that. It's kind of funny. So I knew they were making a new Predator movie, and then I also kept hearing my friends talk about Prey, but I don't remember ever hearing them mention that it was a Predator film. So for a while, I thought they were two separate things. I thought the movie Prey and the new Predator film were two different things until I realized they weren't. So I watched the trailer for it a couple days ago. I've actually watched it a few times now. And while I will say I have never been a huge fan of the Predator series, I really am excited to see this film. It looks pretty interesting, actually, and I love the idea of the film for sure. So basically, the premise appears to be that it takes place in the past. It takes place in 1719 in the Comanche Nation, and there's basically the story is about a highly skilled warrior, and she essentially, while out hunting a grizzly bear, she encounters the predator alien, and essentially she has to try to protect her tribe from the predator as it's trying to essentially stalk them and kill them for sport, basically. And that's basically the plot in a nutshell, at least based on what I can find out about the film. And so I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I love the idea behind this movie. I love the idea of the predators hunting people in the past. That's an interesting concept that I don't think they've done yet. I think every Predator movie up until this point has either been in the present day or it's been in the future. Because I've seen the original Predator, Predator 2. I saw most of the Predator that came out a few years ago, and that was okay. I saw Predators with Adrian Brody several years ago. Again, kind of an okay film, just sort of forgettable. And then, of course, the Alien vs. Predator movies, which I always liked. I always liked the first Alien vs. Predator. AVP Requiem was, it was okay. But the original, the very first Alien vs. Predator film, I don't know, it's kind of a guilty pleasure. It's not a great film by any means, but it's not really trying to be. It's just another, Freddy vs. Jason type movie. Just pure popcorn entertainment. But yeah, I like this idea, and I think it's established in one of the earlier films that the predators have been coming to Earth for centuries. So it makes sense that one would show up at one point in the past. And I also like the idea that he's hunting a Comanche warrior and a tribe, like a Comanche tribe. And so the idea is these are experienced warriors and hunters, so naturally they're going to know how to defend themselves. And really, in some ways, they may have a few advantages over the predator because he's on their turf. They know the land, they know how to navigate it, and they know how to hunt on it. Whereas the predator probably doesn't. It's a completely alien world to him. So that's an interesting concept. In some ways, what they lack in technology, since all they really have to defend themselves with are bows and arrows and tomahawks and spears, and the predator has his signature claws and that little shoulder cannon that he uses. So obviously, technologically, they're at a severe disadvantage against him. But I'm really curious to see how they're going to use the Comanche's hunting skills and fighting skills to maybe even the playing field against the predator. What I'm kind of thinking is going to happen, or at least what I want to see in this movie, is they work together as a tribe against him. Based on I've only seen one trailer so far, but it looks like there's only one predator in the film, as far as I can tell. So he's basically up against an entire tribe, which, as we know, like the predators are supposed to be very strong. I remember in AVP, one predator was able to overpower one of the xenomorphs relatively easily, it seemed like. I mean, I would say the difference in strength between them was not, I wouldn't say it was vast, but it seemed like the predator was definitely like the more powerful of the two. I kind of looked at it like the predator was like the big football player, and the alien was almost kind of like I don't want to say a ballerina dancer, but I guess more like an Olympic athlete, you know, like agile, but not necessarily big and bulky like a predator is. But yeah, freaking alien xenomorph would be the most terrifying like ballet dancer ever. But yeah, like so that's interesting. There's a part in the trailer that I thought was particularly cool. It's near the beginning when the main character is hunting a grizzly bear, and it chases her down this river, and she dives into this beaver dam to try to hide from it. And while the bear is trying to get in there to get to her, the predator essentially sneaks up on it and kills it. And in the trailer, this is kind of the first sighting that we see of the predator. We see the bear get dragged off a little ways away from the character, and then the predator picks it up. It still has its iconic cloaking on, so you can't quite see it. So for a split second, it looks like the bear is levitating in midair. And then you hear that iconic roar that the predator does as it picks it up. So that's a really cool scene. And it does raise an interesting question, like, because I was thinking about that. Okay, so I'm assuming in the movie he probably kills the bear from behind with one of his weapons, I would assume. But I was thinking about that, like, man, like I wonder if the predator didn't have any weapons. Like, say his cannon got busted and his claws broke, and all he had was just like his fangs, I guess, and his brute strength. Could one full-grown predator take on a full-grown grizzly bear? That's interesting. Based on what I've seen predators do, and based on what I know about grizzly bears, I feel like it should be a relatively even match. I mean, obviously, I know that the predators are fictional characters, and I don't really think we're ever given a super clear idea of just how powerful they are. Like, again, I know they're able to take on xenomorphs, and they've proven, several times that they're way more powerful than a human. Like in the very first movie, the predator takes on Arnold Schwarzenegger and several other characters who are basically supposed to be, like these badass commandos or whatever. And like these are supposed to be like, best of the best warriors. And like there's a part in the end like where he squares off against Arnold in a fist fight and pretty much just slaps the shit out of him. And I think Arnold gets like one good hit on the predator's face, and he pretty much just shakes it off like it's nothing and just bitch slaps him across the pond basically. So I think it's clear there because Arnold's character is supposed to be like not superhuman strong, but he's obviously much stronger than a normal human being. So the predator's just just whooping his ass all over the place. It's kind of like, when a dad is wrestling with his son. It's like the dad clearly is the more powerful of the two. Like, he's just taking it easy on him. So yeah, obviously the predators are supposed to be way more powerful than humans. And I think I always kind of interpret it as in terms of the hierarchy of strength between the aliens and the predators, it's the predator is on top, above the xenomorph by just a little bit, and the xenomorph is above the human by quite a bit. Excuse me. So like, and then, well, I guess not counting the queen alien, the queen xenomorph, but yeah, that's kind of how I always interpreted it. So I don't know. It's an interesting matchup. I want to say I think the grizzly bear would probably win, just because grizzly bears are also extremely powerful, and like, I mean, I wouldn't want to fight a predator, but I definitely sure wouldn't want to fight a fucking grizzly bear. So I don't know. That's an interesting matchup. I think it'd be close. I mean, obviously, if the predator's got its weapons, it's no contest. The grizzly bear's going down. But if it's no weapons and just a contest of pure brute strength, I think that could be interesting. So I don't know. I was thinking about that ever since I saw this trailer. It's like, well, who would win? I don't know. Like, what animals on Earth could take on a predator? I don't know. I'm gonna go with grizzly bear, mainly because I like grizzly bears. So yeah, if you disagree with me, that's fine. But yeah, I'm going with a grizzly on that. I think Smokey's taken down the predator. But anyways, so I think this is it's an interesting concept for the Predator film franchise. And I know that they said that they are in talks for potential sequels to this, I think probably depending on how this movie does. I think the filmmakers had said they want to try to take the Predator in a different direction than what they've done in the past, so I'm not really sure what that means. It looks like this premiered at the San Diego Comic-Con today, actually. Yeah, the 21st, July 21st. So yeah. So I'm kind of curious. I'm going to try to avoid spoilers, so I may not watch any reviews for it. It releases on Hulu August 5th is what it looks like. So I'm probably going to try to go into this blind and knowing as little as I can about the plot. So we'll see. I'm excited for it. I'm definitely curious to see how they handle this. One thing that I would love to see from this, though, is, and I can't believe I haven't thought of this before now, this could open up an interesting avenue for future Predator films. Like, if this movie does well enough, and if it's a good enough film, I think it'd be cool to see the Predators take on other people in the past. Like, one thing I think would be really cool to see is if they take on other, like, warrior tribes or, just groups of warriors, like, from throughout human history. Like, I've always loved, like, the samurai and shinobi. I think it'd be really cool to have a movie where we have, a Predator taking on samurai warriors. I think that'd be a badass idea. And actually, it kind of makes me think of, there's a scene in the movie, I think it's the Predators movie with Adrian Brody. There's a scene in the movie where there's this guy who I think he's a former Yakuza member, and he actually takes on one of the Predators that's hunting them, and he takes it on with he has a katana, and the Predator basically, agrees to fight him essentially, and uses only its blades to fight the guy, and it actually ends in a draw. And it's actually, like, in my opinion, one of the best parts of the movie. Like, they fight in this open field with, like, this tall grass and stuff, and you can see, like, their blood when they cut each other, and it kind of hits the grass and kind of flows into the wind. It's a really cool moment in the film, but it's only like a couple minutes. It's very brief, but I thought it was one of the highlights of that movie. So it'd be cool to have another movie where that is kind of the focus, where you have, like, these warriors of honor, like these noble warriors of honor, like the samurai taking on a bunch of predators. Because the predators, in some ways, what kind of makes them interesting to me is that, unlike the xenomorphs, which are kind of just mindless killing machines, the predators do at least seem to operate on some level of some level of honor, and they have, like, their own sort of, like, code as hunters that they go by. Like, I think in the first movie they established that the predator won't kill you as long as it sees you as, a non-threat. So, like, because I think there's a scene in the first movie where this girl who I think starts off as their hostage, she goes to grab a rifle and Arnold kicks it away from her and tells her, like, the only reason it didn't kill you was because you weren't holding a weapon. And it makes sense because throughout the film we see the predator just snipe people that have guns. So it's like, it makes sense that, it's trying to take out people that it deems as threats. And I think they also do something similar in the first AVP movie. There's a part in the movie with Lance Henriksen's character where his character, I think, is supposed to be, like, sick or something. Like, I think he has some kind of terminal illness, like, in his lungs, I think. And I don't know, it's been a long time since I watched that movie. But the predator walks up to him and it grabs him by the collar and it looks like it's about to kill him, but then it uses the vision on its mask to actually scan his body, and it can see that there's something wrong with him. So it basically just drops him and keeps going because essentially it just decides, oh yeah, this guy's old, he's sick, he doesn't pose any threat to me. Until, Lance takes I think it's like a can of kerosene or something, and uses a match to make a makeshift flamethrower out of it and burns the predator in the back, and it gets all pissed off and turns around and just kills him instantly. I always like that scene. It's so funny. I think it's supposed to be kind of a tense scene, but it always cracks me up the way the predator turns around and just, even though it has a mask on, I always kind of got the impression that, like, it's just fuming under the mask. Like, bitch, I was about to let you go and you fucking did that shit. I always like that scene. It's like, dude, Lance, bad move, man, bad move. Like, what are you doing? The thing, it's like an 8-foot monster. Don't fuck with it. But yeah, I'll be checking this movie out. I think this will probably be another review that I'll do for sure, depending on how much I like it. I mean, obviously, I'm not going into this expecting, Oscar nominations, but I mean, I'm always up for, like, a good popcorn flick / scary film, even though I don't think this is going to be particularly scary. I've always kind of thought of the Predator films as more of, like, sci-fi thrillers than horror films. Even the original one, which was arguably the scariest, to me is still more of a thriller. But yeah, look forward to that in the coming weeks whenever I get a chance to watch it. So, and then, of course, the other one that I wanted to talk about was the trailer for the new movie Halloween Ends, coming out this October. And I remember they had announced that they were filming this back-to-back with Halloween Kills, which premiered last October in 2021. Oh, hang on, did I have that correct? Sorry, I just want to check something real quick. I think in the other movie. Okay, no, I had a brain fart. Never mind. I thought I got the release date for the other movie at San Diego Comic-Con wrong. So, but no, I was just I don't know where my brain's at. It's that burger I had earlier. It's that double cheeseburger. It's screwing with my head. I can't think straight now. Anyways, back on track. Yeah, so I did see Halloween Kills. I didn't do a review of that because obviously that came out before I started this podcast. The podcast started in December of last year, and then Halloween Kills came out in October, so it was just before I could have done a review for it. So before I talk about the trailer for Halloween Ends and kind of my thoughts on it, I do want to give just kind of like my thoughts on the newer Halloween from, I think it was 2018, and then the sequel Halloween Kills. So for the most part, I enjoyed both of those. I liked Halloween 2018 more. As a direct sequel to the original Halloween from the 70s, it pretty much just ignores all the sequels that came in between, and that includes, I think, Halloween 2, where they're in the hospital. So I thought it was really good. It was an interesting follow-up to the original film. I also really liked that they had the original actor who played Michael Myers in that film reprise his role in this. As a much older, grizzled, messed up looking version of himself, even though you don't really see him. You get a couple glimpses of his face in the movie, but it's, I'm sure, purposefully blurred, so you can't get a very clear look at him. And then, of course, you have Jamie Lee Curtis, who reprises her role as Laurie, and she's great in that movie as well. And one thing I liked about the 2018 Halloween was that it really did a good job of, I think, bringing back the brutal version of Michael Myers that I think we had missed. He definitely, not that Michael Myers has ever felt weak or silly, but I feel like in a lot of the sequel films, he definitely, I don't know, I just feel like he doesn't have that same level of threat that he used to, even though he does have some pretty badass kills, like his signature move where he picks people up off the ground and crushes their heads with his bare hands. That was always pretty cool. But this is definitely a version of Michael Myers that feels much more brutal, almost like an animal, like a vicious animal, just slaughtering anyone who's unfortunate enough to get in his way. Like, you truly feel like nobody is safe from this guy. And like in Halloween, in the 2018 film, like, there's a part where he's just walking around, like during Halloween when kids are trick-or-treating out, and it's kind of tense because you're thinking like, oh my god, like he could literally kill anybody like at any time, and he does. He goes and he starts going into people's houses and just starts killing people at random at one point in the movie, and it's pretty insane and kind of creepy to think about. So yeah, that movie was really good. I enjoyed it. I liked the big confrontation between him and Jamie Lee Curtis, especially towards the end of the film, where there's kind of a clever reversal between the two characters where she's kind of hunting him. They do like that reverse of the ending shot from the first movie where instead of Michael Myers falling out of the window, Jamie Lee Curtis falls out, and then when Michael goes to look for her, she's gone. I remember in the original movie, he disappears at the very end of the film, and they kind of leave it on that creepy note and play the signature music. So yeah, that movie I liked it. Halloween Kills, on the other hand, was definitely a kind of a disappointment for me. I heard a lot of negative criticism about that film, and unfortunately I do have to agree with quite a bit of it. I was excited for it coming out of Halloween 2018, because I was really curious to see what direction they were going to take it in. And especially since the opening of the film, in my opinion, the opening of Halloween Kills was actually really cool. The ending of Halloween 2018, they trap Michael in this log cabin house and like out in the middle of the woods, and they basically catch it on fire to burn him alive. And he's essentially trapped in the basement because they have like bars set up so he can't get out. And then the opening of Halloween Kills, we see a group of firefighters basically trying to put out the fire. One of them falls through the floor into the basement, and then Michael gets out and slaughters them. And it's a really cool, intense moment. And you get these really cool, like almost claustrophobic shots from the point of view of the firefighters with like their masks on and their gear and stuff. And it's like, it's really creepy. And it really sets an interesting tone for the movie that kind of got me excited when I first watched it. Unfortunately, the rest of the film is pretty forgettable, at least in my opinion. It does this thing that a lot of films do that really irritates me, where it tries to beat you over the head with its message, like mob mentality in the film. without going into too much detail, there's a part in the movie where the townspeople, they want to hunt down Michael Myers. They find out he's in town and he's killing people, and they basically form a mob to try to find him and kill him. And they accidentally hunt down and kill another person who was in the same mental asylum as Michael when he escaped, and they go after that guy instead. And yeah, like the main message of the movie is kind of mob mentality and how dangerous it can be. But what I didn't like about the film was that it felt like it wasn't subtle in how it tried to portray that. It felt like they were beating you over the head with it. And of course, there's the scene in the movie where they literally tell you what the message is. There's a part in the movie where after they kill that innocent man by mistake, they don't kill him. They drive him to suicide, essentially. But there's a part where one of the characters, I think it's a sheriff or somebody, says, look at us. He's turned us into monsters. And it's like, okay, come on, we get it. Like, I don't like it when films do that, because it kind of feels like they don't trust their audience's intelligence enough to put that together. It's like, okay, we get it. Like, that's like, it's the irony. Like, Michael is supposed to be the monster, but then now they're acting like monsters trying to find him. It's like, yeah, we get it. But anyways, yeah, it's okay. Halloween 2018, I think, is definitely the stronger of the two, and Halloween Kills is definitely a noticeable decline in quality, at least in my opinion. And then it pretty much leads into this new movie, Halloween Ends, which I'm sure this isn't going to be the final film in the Halloween series, but supposedly Jamie Lee Curtis has said that this is going to be her last time playing the character. I think it's Laurie Strode. So I like Jamie Lee Curtis. I really liked her in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like, she's funny. I think she's supposed to be in the live action Borderlands film, whenever that's supposed to come out. But I've always been a big fan of hers. And she's great in the last two Halloween films. So it is going to be sad if this truly is going to be her final time playing the character. Hopefully not, but I guess we'll see. I know she is getting up there in age. I think she's like in her, mid-60s or something like that. So, yeah, it's probably getting harder to do these kinds of films. But I got to give her credit, though. She does a lot of... she's very physical in these films, especially, like, she has quite a few scenes where she goes toe-to-toe with Michael and gives him a good run for his money. And we see that in this trailer. There's not a lot revealed in this trailer, which I do like. I like that it doesn't give away too much. We get a couple scenes inside of somebody's house. I assume it's Jamie Lee Curtis's house, and we get some pretty intense scenes between her and Michael, where basically they're kind of going at it once again, kind of doing what they do best, trying to kill each other. And that's pretty much the gist of the commercial. Looking at the premise for the movie, it looks like it takes place about 4 years after the events of Halloween Kills. So it looks like the film is about, essentially, I guess, after Halloween Kills, Michael kind of disappears for a while, and Laurie tries to go back to living her life as usual until basically Michael comes back, and now she has to basically confront her past and try to stop him once and for all. I mean, how many times have we heard that story? But yeah, it's again, for like going off of what I saw in the trailer, again, we're not given a whole lot, so it's kind of hard to say for sure like what I think right now. I would just say my initial reaction is just sort of, it looks okay. I'm sure I'll definitely check it out when it comes out. Coming off of Halloween Kills, I'm not as excited about this film. I think if Kills had been as interesting and exciting as Halloween 2018 was, I think I'd be more excited for this. But hopefully, maybe this will be the ending that we hope for. But what I am kind of curious to know is if this truly is going to be the ending of Michael Myers as a character, or if it's just going to be one of those things where they make it look like he's dead, but it's really going to be open-ended for future installments. My guess is it's going to be the latter. Hollywood is a big money machine, so I'm sure they're going to try to... there's an article for future movies. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. It's never going to end. Like, all these classic scary monsters and stuff, they're going to keep bringing them back. So, but, I mean, as far as, like, this being the final movie for Jamie Lee Curtis's character, I'm very curious to see how they handle that. And again, if this will, in fact, be her last film in the Halloween franchise. Part of me hopes that it won't be. It'd be cool if we could at least see her in future installments, which I'm sure are most definitely going to happen. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'll check this out. Again, barring just absolutely horrendous reviews from critics, I definitely think I'll be checking this out when it comes out. And, you know, depending, again, once again, if this has a big enough impact on me, I might do a review for it. So, but yeah, I just wanted to give my thoughts on those two trailers. So, Like I said, I will be checking out the new movie Prey when that comes out in a couple weeks on August 5th. And then to give you guys a heads up on my next episode, I am going to do a review of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game Shredder's Revenge. So I got to play that game with a few of my buddies. I've played through it a couple times now, the entire game. And so I thought this would be kind of a fun game to just sort of review. I'll probably talk about other stuff during that episode as well, but I don't know. This was just kind of a fun game, and I just thought this would be a fun little review to do. So look forward to that in the next episode. All right, buddy. I'll catch you all next time.